Oh boy, where do we even start? This team sucks. This is not a good football team. Sorry to our fans that had to watch that ugly, uninspiring football game on a Saturday. Sorry for the fans who had to sit in the frigid weather to watch this god-awful team for 4 quarters. Pittsburgh Steelers playoff hopes might as well be all but finished because who really wants to run to their television, tell their family or their friends, significant other, buddies, coworkers, whatever the case may be, oh, hold on, wait a minute, I'm unavailable this weekend because the Pittsburgh Steelers is playing? Will I watch it? Absolutely. But I'll tell you this much, there's no reason to have any form of excitement, optimism to want to go and watch the Pittsburgh Steelers play. This is what I have seen the last month. This team quit the moment they clinched a playoff berth. Once we got to that 10-win mark, they said, hey, we are in the AFC postseason. Our job is done. Mike Tomlin got that winning season, and we no longer wanted to play football. Yet another game, fourth consecutive, we get dominated on the time of possession. We get dominated, period. Offensively, we had 7-3 and outs. Defensively, we held them to a ton of field goals. This game should not have been close. Bengals had 4 red zone trips that ended in field goals. We got a turnover, pressure. We were pretty much having Joe Burrow, for all intensive purposes, getting hit left and right, but they still were able to generate points. We couldn't get off the field when we needed to. But I will say this much, offensively, I can't even sit here and blame Arthur Smith. Over the course of the past, 5, 6 some years, we can look at the Todd Haley, we can look at the Matt Canada, we could look at the number of different guys we had calling plays and say, hey, this ain't it. The play calling is ass. I'm going keep it a buck with you. Arthur Smith could be calling some of the worst plays, but if we can't execute them whatsoever, it don't matter what call comes from the sideline. Offensive line ain't going to block. Russell Wilson not going to read. He going to hold on to the football, and the wide receivers not going to be able to go out there and get no separation. To hell with the run game because we're trailing every single game to where we can't even bring the run game into play. The team that we were prior to the month of December feels like we're watching the 1970s Steelers to the 2030 Steelers. These teams are completely different. That's the complete difference between this football team from the month of October, November to the team in December and the first week of January. It's 2 completely different football teams, and I don't recognize this one at all. TJ Watt has probably had more plays eliminated by penalties this season than any other player in the league, and it's our fault for that. It's not as if the referee is calling bailout plays. TJ would get a strip sack, the defense would recover it, but we got our defensive backs, cornerbacks holding people's hips. Keep your hands to yourself, sir. You out here dancing, we might as well go to a salsa class with that much waist holding. Ain't nobody know how to cover. All we know how to do is hold. We can't make a tackle on first contact to save our lives. Everybody is able to get yards after catch, yards after contact against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Doesn't matter who the other team running backs are. They come off practice squad and still get about 100 yards on our defense. Our defense is incredibly gassed, incredibly tired. Why is that? Because the offense can't move the chains whatsoever. How many times are we going to have to watch the Pittsburgh Steeler offense underachieve? It's been 5 years. The moment Ben tore his elbow, we haven't been able to generate a comparable offense since. Since then, we've been a doormat, and it's embarrassing. Take a look at the game again and take a look in the stands. Outside of the one time they played Renegade, did you hear the crowd? They were out of it. They were not in it. They didn't even want to be there. I feel bad and angry for our fans who were out there in the cold. They had a shot of 2 elderly Steeler fans who looked like they had to have been in their 60s. Those 2 elderly couple looked so miserable. In the cold and watching their beloved team sucks. As for Tomlin, I've said this the past few years, I was once a huge believer in you to be able to go out there and put forth winning football performance. But as of late, the biggest crutch has been losing in games against sub 500 teams, sub 250 teams, to be quite honest with you, where we've taken losses against terrible football teams in the past. But when it came to playing against teams that have something to play for, and furthermore, teams that are contenders, we always would at least show up. That ain't the case no more. We legitimately might as well be nothing more than, no disrespect, but we have to call it what it is. We're no different than Tennessee, Jacksonville, Chicago, Cleveland, the Giants, all bottom feeders. We might as well be in the bottom fourth of the NFL because that's what it feels like watching us play right now. It's ugly and painful to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers play. We have been burdened over the course of the past 15 years from the no losing season business because we're so incredibly mediocre in the middle of the pack that every single year we have expectations and they never get met. I would much rather be in a scenario where we enter into games and there's no reason for me to sit here and cheer on the team and get emotionally invested behind seeing us win. If that's the brand of football we're going to play, and that sounds crazy coming from me because I believe you play to win the game. I don't believe in tanking. I don't believe in none of that. But the way we're playing football right now, that's what I feel like I'm watching. I feel like I'm watching a 4-12 football team. George Pickens got 1 catch, 0 yards. What are you doing? You arguing with people in the crowd? What are you arguing with fans for? You've done nothing, sir. What are you arguing with fans for? Pat Fremuth drew a pass interference. This was in maybe the third quarter. What are you getting up and going and grabbing the Cincinnati defender for? To let them know the flag was out. What are you doing that for? We lost 3 straight games. We're losing in the game. Nobody should be talking trash whatsoever. Jamar Chase had like 8 catches for like 90 some yards in the TD. Joey Porter just so happens to have himself a great tackle. That's cool. And well, defense over here celebrating like they did something. What the hell y'all celebrating for? I know it's an emotional game. I played it not at this level, but as far as I'm concerned, this should be a situation where you make your play, you to the sideline. Ain't no celebrating because you ain't earned the right to do so. And moreover, further than just earn, you don't deserve to do so. We do nothing for 4 consecutive weeks but waste people's time. Coaches had 10 days to prepare, and this was the game plan. 3 of those games on prime time, all 4 of the past few games shown to national audiences. And on each of those games, you embarrass yourself. It's one thing to be a bad football team. It's another thing to be a god-awful football team that underachieves because, like I stated, all of those other teams that are bottom feeders in the league, at least they are not walking into the postseason year in, year out. When the conversation comes around for Pittsburgh in the playoffs, it's never are they a contender to go and possibly contend for the Lombardi. We are a stepping stone, a walking mat for the other teams on their way to a Lombardi. I can promise you this, in the upcoming week, Steeler fans, I want you to just take a look at the media. I know it's not going to be very nice to turn on the television and listen to what they have to say about our squad, but let's call it what it is. That's what our squad is. People going to be talking about, okay, Baltimore to the championship. Yeah, they're playing against Pittsburgh. That's an easy dub. We came into the year talking about we own the Ravens. 7 of the last 8 games, we beat their ass. Man, what? That mean nothing right now. Baltimore are in control. They took care of their business and sitting pretty. I hate when the camera points at Mike Tomlin on the sideline when the team is losing, his eyes wide open, looking around lost like a deer in the headlights. Nobody know what the hell they doing. Pickens arguing with the damn crowd, pouting on the damn sideline and everything. We don't understand clock management whatsoever. We catch a break, defense able to go and catch Joe Burrow and put him on the ground. Somehow we starting to build a little bit of momentum. Last drive, what do? We keep a timeout in our back pocket, move the chains. Russell Wilson tucks the football and runs rather than throw the football away. Why are you lowering your shoulder for 2 yards? You're a 13-year vet in the National Football League. Why are you trying to gain 2 yards and let the clock run out? That's situational football. That's situational awareness. We lost like 25 seconds there. The time is more important than the downs because it's fourth down territory regardless, right? So what are we doing? Then we catch a break. Cincinnati falls asleep. George Pickens is wide open, but he decides to run a post corner. What are you doing? You look like you on the schoolyard just zigzagging. All he had to do was head up the field. That's a touchdown. Your quarterback don't know where you going. So he going to throw it to what he assumed you were running because there's no way that was a play by design. Mans was dancing out there. What are we doing? Then the last play, Frymuth, who for all intensive purposes was the only person catching footballs for us today. Mike Williams had that early catch and then did a whole lot of nothing. All other receiver did a whole lot of nothing. It goes right through your hands. Oh, it's cold out there. It feels like it's 10 degrees. It's football weather. You are in Pittsburgh. It's cold. We're a bad football team, period. The only bright spot this season really has been Chris Boswell. TJ Watt actually has had a down year. We're a bad football team. Think about it. In the AFC right now, Miami, if they get in, and that's only if Denver were to lose, we're the worst team in the AFC playoffs. Even among, like, the only team that we could probably say, maybe we're better than them is Miami Dolphins. If they were to get in and we play them, I can promise you we'd find a way to lose because that's the team that we are. We're not the team that finds ways to win. We're the team that finds ways to lose. I hope this makes it to the damn Steeler locker room. I really do. God, I hope they can hear me because this is what the majority of the Steelers fan base has complained over the course of the past 10 years. We've played the same brand of football. Hang around to where we can sneak out a win and just happen to be in the postseason, then boat raced and absolutely get embarrassed. I tell you something right now, ain't nobody running to the television next week to go watch us play against. Whether it be Houston, that is, if Las Vegas is able to get a W against the Chargers, or if it's against Baltimore where we travel to the bank to go take on the AFC North champions because we fumbled the division again. So y'all look yourselves in the mirror and figure out what kind of football team y'all want to be. Because as far as I'm concerned, and I think I can speak for most Steeler fans, although we love our team and we're going to cheer for them to go and win, who's really sitting there like, man, we got it. We're going to bounce back. Now, that don't exist. Only way we win in the playoff game is if we play on Madden. Y'all going to have to show me. I would hope you could prove me wrong next week. As far as I'm concerned, whether it be Baltimore, whether it be Houston, we're going to get boat raced. We're going to get our ass blown out because this team don't look like a team that want to play football. This look like a team that's going through the motions. They just out there to go and receive a check. That's all I'm seeing. They should be ashamed of yourselves because at the end of the day, you're supposed to be professional football players. There should be an element of pride, not only to put on the jersey and helmet, but to be able to walk out there as an NFL player. You achieved your dream. Or save us some time and just forfeit the following game if this is the kind of brand of football you're going to play. Because although you should never step out on the field and lay down for an opponent, that's what it certainly feels like. This ain't nothing different. Gosh, man, this is embarrassing. We got to do better. I am out of here.